AFC North, Shawn, Ravens 12-5, Steelers 10-7 last year, Bengals 9-8, Browns 4-13. At this rate, you got the Browns winning the division. Who do you got?
Two-time MVP. Lamar Action Jackson is going to lead the Baltimore Ravens to not only win this division, to not only the number one seed in the AFC, but this will be not a spoiler, but a prediction. He will be in the conference championship this year. The Ravens will be in the conference championship this year. Baltimore, on the offensive side of the ball, is stacked, with the exception of receivers. And on the defensive side of the ball, they have nothing but ballers. Now, hopefully, they're able to stop the run a little bit better than they were last year. But I love what they have in the secondary. I like what they have, especially with Kyle Hamilton. I think that he is an absolute animal. I think that he's arguably the best safety in football. I am super excited to see what the Ravens do. I think Lamar is going to go back for another MVP. He should be going for a three-peat right now, but your fraud-ass quarterback stole it from him. That's enough there. I have the Ravens winning.
So while you were hating on Josh Allen, you mentioned that they couldn't stop the run last year, which is completely false. They averaged 80 yards per game against them on the ground last year. They were exceptional against the run.
No. I didn't say that they couldn't stop the run. I said that I just wanted them to be better against the run.
Right.
It.
Sure.
That's
80 yards per game is pretty good. But anyways, the secondary has had problems for sure.
Yes.
But they did bring in Jair Alexander. Nate Wiggins had a breakout year. Malachi Starks in the draft. Yes, the Ravens are winning the division. I have them at 13-4. I also do potentially have them in a conference championship game, perchance. We'll see what happens. But I do think, the way the roster is structured, again, you don't need much on offense if you got Lamar Jackson, the most talented player we've ever seen. And I hope you know, every time I utter his name, every time I talk about his talent, it pains me. Not because I don't want to like Lamar, but it's because I know who you are as a Lamar Jackson fan. And it honestly bothers me that I can't even get a word out with you glazing the hell out of this guy. It's unbelievable. But I will admit, most talented athlete we've ever seen on the football field, the best, most talented quarterback we've seen, somebody who throws 40-plus touchdowns and rushes for 1,000 yards. It's pretty incredible. I do have a question for you, though, around the Ravens before we get into a potential wildcard team in this division, if you have. Is John Harbaugh on the hot seat, considering having Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, having a great defense year after year, and consistently bailing on the run when it matters in the playoffs? Do you think he's on the hot seat for you?
Right before I answer that question, I want to just go back to you trying to get you a gotcha moment on me saying that the run game is bad, okay? 150 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground in the game that they lost to the Bills, okay? So that's not good to me. Now, I understand that as a Bills fan, you really care about the regular season and not what happens in the playoffs, but for winning franchises, for players of Lamar Jackson's caliber, they need more than 150 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground. So if that's good for you, fine. It's not good for me and Lamar. Anyways.
But you know what? Let me just add on to that, because I'm not even going to fight the point, but the Bills' offense didn't have a whole lot going into the playoffs. And this is actually building on the John Harbaugh thing. They should have known that the strength of our offense was running the ball, whether it's Josh Allen or James Cook. And they still let James Cook trample over them for 150 yards and whatever it was, 3 touchdowns. Again, it's a weird thing happening in Baltimore when you have Lamar Jackson, who hasn't been known to be the best playoff performer, continue to lose playoff games, and a large question has been coaching. So what do you think about John Harbaugh?
I think the best thing that happened to John Harbaugh was Lamar Jackson, was drafting Lamar Jackson. I think he lengthened his time in Baltimore by probably 10 years. I would be a hypocrite to say Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat if I would not say that Harbaugh's also. because the same way that Mike Tomlin had AB, Le'Veon Bell, and Ben Roethlisberger and didn't make a Super Bowl, it's going to be the same thing with Harbaugh. The Ravens have one of the best rosters, not even on the offensive side of the ball, but the best rosters in football.
Probably like top 3, I would say. Like behind Philly.
And it's like at worst they are 3. They have probably one of the most electric players of all time in Lamar Jackson. He dominates, not even just Lamar Jackson, but the Ravens dominate every regular season. They are one of the best teams, and it looks like in October, in November, that they are unbeatable. And then as the season starts to tie up, it's like Harbaugh just goes and throws everything that got them to the dance out the window. And then you have Lamar Jackson in playoff games throwing 50 times when they have the number 1 rushing attack. Then you have last year with Derrick Henry not even becoming a main focal point of the offense till the second half, when now they are playing from behind. That's not a Lamar Jackson thing. That's not a Derrick Henry thing. That is a coaching thing. And the guy that's at the top of that is John Harbaugh. And success is no longer just winning the division. Success is no longer winning a conference championship. At minimum, there needs to be a Super Bowl appearance within the next 2 years, because there should have been one in the last 3 years. Yeah. This team is far too talented to be coming up this short again and again and again, and it can't be because of coaching. Because if you're the general manager of the Ravens and you look that I have the MVP of the last 3 years, like 2 of the last 3 years, I have the MVP on my team. I have arguably the best running back in football. I have one of the best offenses and defenses in football. Why isn't this working? You have to look at the head coach. And if there's not legitimate success, which is reaching a Super Bowl, you have to look at other options, and that's getting rid of Harbaugh.
Yeah, and it's tough because he's been there for so long and he's had some success. But like you said, Deshaun, I completely agree. You make the playoffs. That's the first step of success, right? But after a while, you're demanding more as a franchise. When you got Lamar, you got to capitalize, especially with Derrick Henry nearing the end of his career. He's still playing at an elite level, but how many more years of elite production do you get out of Derrick Henry with the way that he plays? So it's got to happen now. And I know people are so hesitant because he's a historic coach. Same thing with Mike Tomlin, but we got to look in the mirror and face the facts. With Lamar, with Derrick Henry, has to happen, especially with this defense as well. Do you have a wild card team in this division? Because I have the Pittsburgh Steelers quickly at 9-8, slipping into the playoffs as they usually do. Same old shit. Rodgers at 42 screams mediocre to me with Mike Tomlin. Offense is all right. Like DK's a phenom, but outside of that, it's nothing special. And the defense is stout as per usual. Like I just think they'll be good.
I also have the Steelers. I think that this will be a resurgence for that offense that has been pretty dead the last 2-3 years. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if not only they make the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win a playoff game. But I think that's probably their ceiling.
Yeah, that's probably pushing it for Mike Tomlin, too. He likes that comfortable range, you know what I mean?
Just make it, and that's it.
Exactly.